Hello, and welcome to the Blogging Pod. The No Kings March on June 14, 2025, took place across more than 2,100 cities in the U.S., a massive protest against the current administration policies. It was part of a movement aimed at pushing back against rising signs of absolute control and defending democratic principles. Interestingly, the same day, there was a parade meant to celebrate the armed forces, which some might argue was more about celebrating the president's birthday than honoring the military. On social media, many former service members posted that the parade may have actually been a form of silent protest. Although these claims have not been officially confirmed, they do raise an understandable interpretation when you consider the stark contrast between how the military typically presents itself during formal ceremonies: sharp, uniform, and coordinated, and how noticeably different their appearance and formation seem during this particular event. Regardless, the fact remains that the turnout at the parade was far less impressive than what we saw in the streets for the No Kings protest. Despite the national celebration, the official parade struggled to fill the streets with that kind of crowd energy you would expect for such a significant event. On the other hand, the No Kings March swelled with thousands upon thousands of participants, each showing up in defiance of what they saw as an overreaching government. But as the streets filled with voices calling for change, something else started to happen. The president, after the protest and in the wake of the parade, made statements about intensifying his administration effort in blue states. He didn't mince words, vowing to go harder on these states, promising stronger enforcement and action in places like New York, Los Angeles, and Chicago. Where there's no definite proof linking these statements directly to the actions that followed, the timing is certainly suspect. Shortly after those words, we saw a coincidental series of actions targeting Democratic-led cities and states. For example, on June 16th, the administration directed ICE to escalate urban deportation raids, focusing specifically on sanctuary cities. New York, Los Angeles, and Chicago were all highlighted, with the president's administration increasing enforcement efforts in these places, even though they had resisted earlier. The following day, on June 17th, came even more significant development. Brad Lander, the New York City comptroller, was detained by ICE agents outside an immigration court. While he was released without charges, the incident sparked concerns about federal overreach, and some saw it as an act of intimidation against a local official who had long been vocal in supporting immigrant rights. Then, in a chilling move on June 17th and 18th, the administration publicly threatened to withhold federal infrastructure funding and anti-terrorism grants from cities and states that refuse to cooperate with federal immigration enforcement. While the details about the funding cuts haven't been fully worked out yet, the threat was made clear. If these cities weren't willing to comply with federal policies, they would face consequences. Most experts believe the target was California, a state that has consistently defied the administration on immigration matters. Finally, on June 18th, the Pentagon confirmed that it was prepared to deploy more troops within the United States to assist in enforcing federal policies in these blue states, ramping up the federal response even further. The readiness of federal forces to be deployed to cities like Los Angeles, despite resistance from states and local authorities raising critical questions about the limits of executive power and the potential abuse of authority. Morally, ethically, and legally, this entire situation raised a number of red flags. Is it justifiable for the president to escalate federal authority in this manner? Should cities and states that resist certain policies be punished with threats of funding cuts? Military deployments and escalating rates. The patterns that are emerging seem to suggest a clear intent to target political opposition using federal powers as leverage, which many see as overreach and attack on state autonomy. Today's sources are from the Daily Beast, Reuters, Guardian, Politico, the New York Post, and the Washington Post. Thank you for listening. Until next time, bye-bye for now.